So we got Joel and we got Reese and Ray so far.
And David, he's on the phone.
Oh, he's on the phone. Okay, here's Ann.
Hi.
So David's coming in. Is he on the committee? No, I didn't think so.
No.
Well, David, I'm glad you're coming in. Even on the phone is Karen. Hi, Karen.
I think you've got everybody here if you want.
I think so. Deborah was gonna come in if she could, but she's probably on that advocacy and fundraising.
She's here. She's here.
Oh, she is here?
Her picture? Yeah.
No, I don't. I see David now. There's Deborah coming in. There we are.
I'm here, but I can't participate because that would be a quorum.
And we wouldn't want that.
We wouldn't want that, so have fun.
Well, weren't we told that commissioners could sit in on meetings as long as they didn't speak?
Yeah.
They're quiet.
Right, so I'm going to stay and listen, but I can't chime in.
But I can ask you a question.
I'll be
No.
here for a question. Okay.
I
didn't
can't
think
ask you
so.
a question?
I didn't think so.
I can.
No.
I can't.
Nope.
Observe
Okay,
it.
could you text me privately? No, you can't do that either.
No, can't do that either.
But look
All
in
right.
the chat. Look in the chat room. I posted
Okay.
something before the
Yes,
meeting.
you did. I saw that.
All right,
Great.
there you go.
All right, well, it's 4 o'clock. Let's call the advisory committee meeting together. And as vice chair, I'm going to run this meeting. And then at the very end, we're going to elect the officers, or the chair and the vice chair, I should say. Okay, and we're going to try to get this done in an hour because we got our commission meeting at 6. So I want to give you time to, as I told Jane, to powder your nose and maybe eat dinner and all that stuff. Okay, so first thing is a roll call. So Reese Foxen,
Here.
Karen Schneider,
Here.
Joel Newberg. Joel, are you unmuted?
Here, yes.
Okay, here we go, good. Paul Heavenridge, here. Okay, so there's 4. So everyone got the agenda? And it's up on the screen right now. Jane put that up. So do we have anybody from the public that would like to say anything? Not hearing anybody jump in. I assume we have no public that wants to say anything right now. So let's see, action items by motion, we have none. We'll get right down into the discussion. Oh, sure, Reese.
Excuse me, Paul, could I ask a favor? Could
Sure,
we
absolutely.
remove that agenda? I mean, I think all of us probably have the agenda in front of us, but
Okay, is
we
that
remove
okay
the
with
agenda so
everybody?
all the people can be up on the thing.
Okay.
Just-
All right.
I only get pieces. Thank you very
Gotcha.
much. Appreciate
Okay.
it.
It's good to see everybody's smiling
I can
face.
see everybody.
Good. Well, that's important, especially in these Zoom meetings. You know,
Mhm.
we're still all getting used to them after all this. Okay. So discussion, the staff reports, and I'm going to ask Ann real quick. I know since this is a new year and we reconfiguring the advocacy committee, there's new people, and that also includes staff. So I guess you and Ray are going to be, is that right? Is just the 2 of you are going to be in the advocacy committee now?
That's correct. We'll be the common denominators. Other staff
Okay.
can join us as they are able to.
That's good. And the only question I had with that is with Deborah, when we talk about federal legislation or ALA, she usually chimes in on that, and then local stuff Sarah did. So you're going to take those between you and Ray, you're going to cover both of those. Is that what we're thinking right now?
We'll either cover it or we'll invite Sarah to join us as needed.
Okay. And I know Karen, it's great that she's on the advocacy now
Mhm.
because she knows a lot of the national stuff. She's right. You're on ALA all the time. You're just,
Yes, I'm on the ALA Executive Board.
Yeah. So you-
And I'm not as up on the advocacy angle as Deborah is, but I
Yeah.
still have my ear to the ground.
that's right. You hear things.
I hear
That's
things.
what's important. So. Okay, so let's have the staff report, please.
So we've been very busy. We've been keeping a steady pace with the curbside deliveries, even though we've had a few challenges in the past month in the form of fires and bad air quality and not enough staff occasionally at some branches because people are out sick. So, but we're plugging right along and making steady progress toward the reopening plan. And then at the commission meeting this evening, you will see a short video that we did to show some of the changes inside the Rohnert Park Library that we're using as our beta site for how we can adapt all of our locations in the future.
Great. Any state and national advocacy legislative updates?
I don't have anything to report on that at this time. Ray or Sarah, do you have anything you'd like to share?
I don't have any specifically on that, but I did want to add to Ann's staff report. Commissioner Heavenridge, we have not kept you in the loop on the Roseland project because other commissioners have been involved, but assuming you may ascend to the chairship, we need to bring you up to speed on that. Tomorrow, the Santa Rosa City Council will hear from the library with a request to allocate some of its PG&E settlement funds to a permanent Roseland library. That study session is at 2:30 tomorrow and will be over before 4. Not sure the exact timing on it, but it'll probably last until close to 4. Ann, we've already submitted comments in Ann's name. And Commissioner Doyle is also going to make a brief presentation on that. Also, just from a general advocacy perspective, the Library Advocacy and Fundraising Conference is starting soon. If you're not aware of it, any of the commissioners on the call, and you want to find out more about it, please let me know or let Deborah know. And we can make sure that you're in the loop on that. Thank you.
And Ray, since Deborah can't speak, is this something that, as the advocacy committee, is this something that you would suggest that we should participate in, or is it something that we can get a report from somebody who is going to participate in? So who on the staff is participating, I guess, is another way of asking.
So I'm going to be there monitoring the meeting and taking notes. I'm not sure if Lana is or not. Usually one of us is enough because it's not an in-person meeting, you know, showing your face in a Zoom meeting where you're not showing doesn't really help, but we are going to be represented there. If you wanted to find out a little bit more about their thinking, then I would suggest tuning in, but it's not necessary from the perspective of advancing our cause.
So we'll get maybe some kind of report through the advocacy or the commission itself on some of the highlights, maybe? Or,
Paul, can you hear me?
yes.
Okay,
Can
I
we?
screwed up the visual right now, so I have to go back and change it. But
Okay.
I'm participating in I think it's every library, but it's the Library Advocacy and Funding Conference. I spent all day sitting and listening to different meetings and sessions. And if anybody wants to go, it's 2 more days. If anybody wants to go, I'd find it highly valuable.
Okay.
I've really learned a lot today. So,
Excellent.
yeah. And for those, I think Joel, I don't know if there's anybody else new on, but the library will pay for the conference cost.
It's $125.
I think it's 125, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but it's well worth it if you are
Good.
so inclined. And I would be happy to give a report on anything I learned.
Excellent. Well, maybe between you and Ray and anybody else that attends, I've got a couple other Zoom conferences I'm on the next couple days. So I may go in and out, but I don't know if it's worth $125 to the library for me to
Yeah.
go in and out. So I will depend on Ray and Reese to.
Okay, you're going to lose me for a moment because I've got to start over, but
Okay,
I'll be
I
back.
won't say anything important until you come back.
oh yeah, okay.
Okay.
No, go on. I'll catch up with it eventually.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
wait a minute. There I am.
Well, they're good. Okay,
Never mind.
so I think that's important. It'd be great to get a report on that and maybe, anything. And certainly Deborah has pushed us and Ann has pushed us that we really need to know what's going on around the country, especially in these times, because we don't have to reinvent the wheel with everything we're doing. So that'll be great. And the fundraising part is interesting too. So is Siri on that too? Is she attending that?
I don't know.
And is Siri, or is that not important?
Let me see. Yes, she is.
She is, okay, so maybe we can get a report from Siri too.
And Deborah is also attending. I
Deborah
couldn't
is.
attend today, but I'm going to tune into the pre-recorded sessions. So between all of us, we'll be able to share information.
Excellent, good. Well, I guess I don't have to spend $125. That's good. Okay, great. So anything else on legislative updates or anything that we know of? We already had a report last week from Sarah about our meeting with Congressman Huffman's office. And we have a good I can speak personally, we have a good relation with Congressman Huffman. And he is open to being contacted if there's anything we need him to help with. And so is his staff. So I think that's a very good relationship, and we should use it if we need it. Okay, let's move on to the roles and responsibilities. I sent out, Jane sent out our roles and responsibilities sheet here. And this is something we did back in January 14th, 2019. And it was always a draft. And I think it's really important since we're having, a new composition of our, oh, somebody's talking in the background there. Since we're really kind of a new advocacy committee here, a subcommittee, I think it's really important to know what we're supposed to be doing. And I think as we talked on Saturday at the workshop, I think one of the goals of this committee is to help the rest of the commissioners speak in one voice. And Ray's done a lot with that. He did the PowerPoint that we presented to our constituencies, and I think we need to build on that. And especially since we're in this new normal now, I want to bring up in the next couple meetings what we should be telling our constituencies, because it's ever changing. But maybe it's changing the PowerPoint that Ray did, or having a sheet of bullet points. But I think that is something this committee can do. And I think it's important that we do it because there's a lot of, I'm hearing a lot of different things and rumors, and and Ann's helping a lot, having the report coming out every week of what's going on. That helps. But I think we do have to have a speak in one voice and write that up. So that's something I think in the next couple of meetings we should start talking about a little more. But did everybody get a chance to read the responsibilities, the subcommittee, what we're supposed to be doing? Okay. And I don't want to spend a lot of time on going through it, but if you have any suggestions, edits, any questions, please get those to me. or Jane, and Jane can pass them on. And because I think it's important as commissioners and as committee members to know precisely what we're supposed to be doing. So
Should
I'm
we
strange.
include,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
should we include that work with Ray, whatever his position is called, to
Uh-huh.
develop talking points? Should we include that as our role, as one of our roles?
Oh, you mean for the talking points for all the commissioners to go out to the community and talk about what we're doing?
I know that's sort of
Um,
specific, but at least it jiggles people's minds.
I think it would be, yeah, Reese, I think it'd be useful to
Okay.
tell what the work of the commission is, and that includes advocacy and finance and, you know,
Okay.
what we're trying to do. We don't have to go in big detail, but, you know,
Yeah, no,
so anyway. So I think this is almost done, but I want to put it out to our advocacy committee if there's anything you think we should add on this or emphasize or take off, you know. So so that's why that was included. Okay. So any other questions about that? Okay. So let's move on to 5.4. And that's, oh, I'm sorry, and that's where I was. Okay, well yeah, because 5.3 was the actual document. Okay, so we talked about that. And we mentioned the legislative visits. I don't think we had any more other than the Huffman visit. So we talked about that. And I think that's good that Ann, that we're doing that. And we're keeping in good with our representatives, and because obviously they help with the purse strings for one thing. Okay. Now community organizations, that was on the agenda, and one of the things our role is to help connect with community organizations to further our library agenda and let organizations know and get them involved. And I don't know if we had a point person on that. Was that you, Ray? You were helping with that, right? About connecting with.
I've been collecting the suggested names, contacts, emails of various organizations and people.
Mhm.
Commissioner Doyle did send out a request from her previous role as advocacy committee chair to the entire commission, asking for people to send in lists. And so far, Commissioner Cahill has provided a list of names, and no one else has.
So this was the names, not the organizations themselves. This is
It could be either or both.
both. Okay. All right. Well, I have been delinquent in doing that myself, but I think that would be good. Yes, Karen. Karen, you're getting.
Sorry.
Okay.
Somebody else, by the way, is not muted in the background, and I feel like there's a lot
Yeah,
of.
somebody's talking in the background.
My
But
question is,
I think it's, excuse me, I think it's Reese, you need to mute, thank you.
okay.
thank you. So could you just clarify again? I know you've raised this, but I feel like I've gotten confused in which lists of people are being requested. What particular request are we talking about here in terms of names?
Ray, could you answer that?
Certainly.
Yeah.
What we're looking for is we want to expand a list that we already have. Actually, there's two lists. We call one of them stakeholders, and we call the other one community partners. So an example of the stakeholder lists is that we have every elected official. That's an overstatement, sorry. We have most elected officials in Sonoma County on that list. Every city council member, every school board member, all the board of supervisors, the city managers, school district superintendents. We don't have the little tiny fire districts and things like that on there. Anybody who's part of our JPA. And then in what we call a partnership, we have other people in the schools. We have principals, key instructors. We have nonprofit board leaders and execs, folks like that. And that's an area where we could really use help if someone knows a key nonprofit board or staff leader. We've collected dozens and dozens of lists. You know, that's something that our communications specialist works on in her free time. She's combing the web looking for those. But if one of you says, I know so-and-so, she or he is a mover and a shaker, those are the gold names that we need to do outreach.
Okay. Does that answer the question, Karen? Okay. I was waiting till you took a drink and then I ask you a question. See. Okay, so yes, I will be before next advocacy meeting. I will have a list, my own list in there. So I will be a little more diligent. Okay, any more questions on the organizations? Okay, let's move on to 5.4D, the calendar. And that's something we brought up at the workshop on Saturday. What we've discussed in the past in the advocacy committee was to have a calendar of events coming up and who was going to an event or had something scheduled. Like I know Reese talked about numerous things that she was doing, like LCN, for example. And what that is that she is representing the library when she goes to these things. And we don't really know until after the fact that Reese is going to like LCN. So the calendar, the idea of the calendar, one of the ideas of it is to show who's going to what, when. So for example, I used to go to LCN all the time. And you know, and that's something I should be doing more too, but I was more representing not the library. So I could go representing the library and be part of that calendar, you know, that Commissioner Heavenridge and Commissioner Foxon are going to LOCN. And so what we need to know beforehand instead of afterwards in the reports at the commission meeting, who's going where to attend something in the community that we could be an ambassador for the library or represent the library as a commissioner. And I still think that's a really good idea. We haven't really done it. So I would like a short discussion on that, how the best way of doing that is. And I would assume, and I think we talked about Jane doing it and putting it on the calendar on our commissioner website, on our mail and with everything else. So anybody have any ideas around that or thinking it's a good idea or? Yes, Reese.
Is there an open calendar that each of us could go into and just put our name on a day, you know, and what we're doing, like LOCN, Reese Foxon or LOCN Foxon, that we could just do quickly without having to send off emails to Jane and have her do it? Simplify it?
That's a good, I don't know.
We can certainly do that. Yeah, that would be the easiest way.
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
And then we can just, when we make the appointment, we can just plop it in there.
Okay. So I can talk with Jane about doing that, Ann? Is that okay? I will. By the way, is Jane taking notes right now? Is anybody taking notes? I forgot to ask.
The meeting is being recorded. So I will.
Oh, it's
write
being
a minute
recorded. Okay.
Afterwards, yes.
Well,
And
okay, let it be
take notes as well.
recorded that Paul will call Jane about, about setting up a calendar that people can put in. And, okay, anybody, Ray, were you going to say something? Were you going to say
I just
something?
wanted to mention that I usually take notes as well,
Great.
but Jane and I will meet offline and make sure we're not duplicating each other.
Excellent. That's really helpful, especially for anybody who's going to be the chair and has to submit a report at the commission meeting. So, the minutes would be good to have. Okay, let's see. So, the idea of the calendar, is that something that people think is a good idea? We don't have to have a vote on it or anything. I think we already talked about doing it. We just haven't done it. Right? Okay. I don't see any objections. So. All right. So let's move on to 5.4E, the ambassadors. And the idea for that, I think originally it started as a speakers bureau. Am I correct? I mean, we were doing Measure Y. We talked about having ambassadors in kind of a speaker bureau going out and talking about the library and why it was a good thing to have in our community. Am I remembering that right? Ray, is that something we?
One of the concepts that Commissioner Doyle and I talked about when this ambassador idea surfaced was to build on that tradition of the Speakers Bureau, but also to acknowledge that we have an untapped reservoir of ambassadors. Every lab member, every Friends member, current commissioners, former commissioners, all these people are potentially ambassadors. We'd actually talked about having it be a slightly social kind of environment where people could gather, they could meet with a commissioner, they could meet with Siri, who's wonderful at this one-to-one community outreach stuff, much better than I am. And sort of be inspired and get tips and tricks. And then that could overlap with the calendar. If it's really important, if we're doing I'll just make up an example. If we're doing a workforce development outreach, because the library provides incredible workforce development opportunities to the community. If we were doing a little marketing push, wouldn't it be great if for a couple of months, there was somebody representing the library at every single Chamber of Commerce function in the county that was singing off the same hymn book about workforce development? And so I'm hoping that I'm capturing my conversation with Commissioner Doyle accurately, but that's what we were sort of daydreaming about, that we could grow all this tremendous support we already have and give it a little more form, a little more direction.
Okay, yes, that comes back to me now. Yes, I think that's something we should push forward through. That certainly is in our roles and responsibilities on this committee to do something like that. And I think that would be really effective. And I think as we move forward too, as we fundraise, certainly Measure Y coming up, certainly doing something around Roseland and getting a major building campaign. This would be very effective to have these ambassadors and getting out more in the community. As we discussed, Reese and Barbara and Deborah and a lot of people have really been out in the community and as commissioners, but we need a concentrated effort and speaking in one voice again. So I think that's a good thing to move forward with this committee on. Any comments on that? Anybody?
I think it's a great focus of our
Good.
capital.
Good. Let's do that. Okay, so let's see, we also had the Library Foundation candidates list that we had asked, Ann and Ray had asked us to put in suggestions for the Library Foundation. They're looking for more people to be on their board. And so if there's, if there's anybody you think would be a good board member for them, I guess we're giving it directly to Ann or to Ray, the list. I don't remember exactly.
Either one is fine.
Okay. So anybody has any suggestions, please submit that to Ann or Ray. Okay, takeaways from commission overview workshop is the next item. And I thought, I've been an advocate of having a training just for what is a commissioner, and what are we doing. And I think this was maybe the closest we had since I've been on the commission, which is good. And I know Reese made some comments about that also. So that was good. I thought it was concise. We got to the point. It was great to hear from the staff and what was going on in their departments. And I think it was a little clearer. And I'm gonna ask Joel, because you're the litmus test here, Joel. Do you understand a little bit more what a library commissioner is? And
yes, I think I got a lot. I actually took notes, which I have to admit I seldom do. But yeah, I think I have a better idea of what a commissioner can and should do.
good. Did you ever get a manual, by the way?
No.
There is a commissioner manual. I don't know if we're still working on that, or if there's an old one available to you.
I also didn't get a phone or an iPad. So,
Excuse
Jane, if you're listening.
No, I can speak to that.
Okay,
Vicki is
good.
waiting for new phones to be delivered.
Okay.
I were to pass that on. And with the handbook, all of my materials are at headquarters, and I would be glad to put one together as far as we can make an arrangement, and I can put one together, and I can get it to Sebastopol if you'd really like to have one.
okay.
All right.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
I mean, it's getting a little long in the tooth maybe, and
Yeah.
we need to add to it and update it, but it's good to have anyway. And the phone, we should be using them, but
I've just, when the idea of having a separate phone was brought up, I was told that we don't want people subpoenaing my private devices,
oh,
which are now polluted with library business. So,
oh. Well, I guess we just have to be real careful what we say. Huh? Everybody knows the Brown Act, I guess. Okay, so one thing I thought would be good, and we talked a little bit about this, but two of the movers and shakers that have been out in the community from the commission are Reese and Barbara, and I think this goes back to the calendar too, where we need to know what people are doing. And I think asking Reese, asking Barbara what they're doing, giving us some suggestions about who we should be in contact with, and the organizations that we should be joining, the workshops or whatever that's going on, I think would be a good idea, because it seems to me those two specifically, and others, commissioners go to a lot of things, obviously, and we get that in the reports, but I think they both, Reese as the former chair, and Barbara, just because she is, when I first met Barbara, she gave me a card that says she's a professional volunteer. And that's, so I think she's on everything. She's everywhere, you know. So just look at her Facebook page. But I think we need to know what people are doing, number one, on the commission and where the gaps are. And Ray came up with a couple good suggestions already to be on the, you know, as far as the ambassadors, you know. So I think we need to do that. And I'm happy to talk to both Reese and Barbara to pick their brains on that. So I guess I will assign myself to do that. That in the calendar, and speaking with one voice, I think there's a couple of things I came out. Anybody else want to bring anything that's relevant to the Advocacy? Wait a minute. I gotta take it. I'm getting Advocacy Committee. There we go. I can talk now. Anybody, Reese? Yeah.
Well, I was really happy that we did the training. And I was happy to hear Joel say that he had a better idea of what was going on and how it functioned. And he even took notes. I mean, that says something when somebody takes notes about something like that.
Right.
And it's something that's been sorely needed, just sorely needed. I know it got lost in my tenure. Oh God, I forgot where I was going. Anyway, I am really pleased and I'm really happy that it was done. And I think it will give the new commissioners a better start. And I was glad to hear that it was being recorded. So those commissioners who are coming on later and not in the initial group will be able to see the same thing and get the information, because if they don't know how it's functioning and how it's working,
Yeah.
Totally lost. So I just have to say it was a very, very well done, good, full, and it only lasted 2 hours on top of that. I was settled in to miss lunch and do all this other stuff. And I was really pleased with it. And thank you, Anne, and all the others who worked hard on that. So.
Yeah. This isn't exactly our role here, but what are we missing on these workshops? Karen, did you have something? Karen, did you?
Well, I just wanted to comment on how good the workshop was overall. Just really thought it was terrific. And I think the one thing that might have been raised a little bit more is the scope of commissioner responsibilities, because commissioners don't always understand. And we don't want to lose good commissioners. We don't want to scare them off, but we also want them to have a good idea of what they might find themselves doing as a matter of course. You know, recruiting people for boards and nominations and so forth. But really, overall, it was very, very good.
And that may be one thing that we need to talk about too. And I think we do have a description. And I know in years past we talked more about this, about what we're looking for in a commissioner, so we can give it to our respective localities here when they're looking for a new commissioner. And I'm not sure, we have a couple openings. I'm not sure if that city is getting that the description of that commissioner, of a commissioner, which as they're looking for someone to replace people. Reese, yeah.
Well, I know Cloverdale has that information,
Okay.
and we have periodic discussions because we're looking for some specific representation because we feel it's lacking. So that's
Right.
part of and the COVID's not helping at all.
Yeah.
It's hard to get out in the community when you can't get out in the community.
It's hard to get out, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Anyway.
and I know when I came on decades ago, it seems, it seemed like it was, and we just wanted a beating heart, you know. We needed to get people on the commission, but I think we're beyond that now, and we've grown, and so we can be a little picky who we suggest. Of course, we're not the deciders, but we can push people that we want, you know. And I'm working on that myself for the for the county position, so commissioner. And I've been asking around for that. Had the perfect person too, and she decided that she has to be a teacher with her 2 kids. So.
Well, I
and
have
so-
somebody who I've just
Uh-huh.
encouraged, and I haven't gotten a response yet, but
Yeah,
because I think she'd be good. So
yeah, and
hopefully.
that'd be good. In my contacts with the Latinx community, I've been putting it out because it would be nice to get um, a person of color on the commission. I can say that. I think to represent the community that we serve would be a good thing, and have representatives as commissioners. So, anyway, so that's coming up. So, any other takeaways from the workshop? Anybody wanted to say anything? I thought it was good too, and I if we have any suggestions, I think I kind of look at that. I think it was very good, and we did a lot in 2 hours, and I think that's a good beginning. I think there's more we need to talk about, and I think if we keep these short, if we keep them with under 2 hours, we could probably have more, because it's less of our time if we're zooming. You know what I mean? So I think there's some other topics that I'm sure, Ann, you're already thinking about those. But I think it's good to get together and talk about that as commissioners. So I encourage more workshops, I guess. Okay. Okay, no other. Let's see. So community protests. Do we have any report on Black Lives Matter? Any further action? Any review on that? What we did?
Commissioner Heavenridge, I
Yes.
think that might be an artifact from a previous agenda. We
Okay.
had discussed this previously. I believe we had gotten as far as we needed to and decided not
Right.
to. I think it just rolled over.
Okay, good, thank you. And so we'll take that off for the next agenda. One thing, so what we can do is replace that with is the library funding bill in Washington. Still needs support, as Deborah would tell you. And so did you refresh my memory on it? Did we send a letter of support for that, right? Right, Ann?
We sent a series of letters to various senators and congresspeople. We
That's
did
right.
that.
That's right.
Let's see, it's September. I don't recall exactly. I believe it was June or July we did that.
Great. Okay. All right. So that's right. I remember. I had a few comments on those. I remember submitting this. Like taking out California and a couple of ones that obviously that was going to happen, but I thought I'd point it out in some of the letters to the senators that were not, or congressmen that were not from California. Okay. All right, we're now at 43 minutes into the meeting, and I don't want to do all the talking, so that's not, as you known me through the years, I don't do a lot of talking during meetings. So let anybody else have anything to say here before we do the election of officers? No, nothing? Okay.
I'll just
Well,
comment that
Yeah.
I actually think it's, in some ways, it's been a little easier to attend some meetings during this time because I can zoom in on a meeting when I could not drive during the day, take time off, that much time off from work. So there's actually kind of a little bit of an edge.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
At that point, you can ambassador far and wide.
Yeah, and I'm got my foot massager out, and I'm getting a foot massage right now, so that's an advantage too. So. No, I'm kidding. I could, nobody knows. Okay, well, okay, let's move on to the election then. on your roles and responsibilities, on the back, everybody read this, is that correct? It was sent with the agenda? If not, if you could get it out, I want to make sure you know what you're getting into when you're the chair.
Would you like me to screen share this?
Yeah, is that all right, Reese, for a minute? Okay,
Okay.
she's saying yes, I think.
Okay, hold
Okay.
on.
Okay,
Okay,
great.
tell me where you want me to stop.
Yeah, the role, that's fine. The
There?
role right there. Yeah, the governance. Yeah,
Okay,
that's great. So every year we elect a chair and a vice chair. It says annually it's a December meeting, but that's not true. It should be when we have the new chair coming in for the whole commission. So it should, I think that should read September or August, but it doesn't matter in this case because Deborah has stepped down and is with all her other responsibilities being chair of the commission. So this is everybody knows now that we're meeting the second Monday of each month. And so the agendas are posted 72 hours prior to meeting per the Brown Act. Okay. And that's I'm just throwing that information out. And the meetings are open for the public. And normally, if this is normal times, we meet at the central office in Roanoke Park. But we're meeting on Zoom right now. Okay. So let's see. So as far as the chair and the vice chair, so the chair is responsible for preparing agendas and conferring with everybody on the agenda that's listed there. I don't have to read it off. Sending agendas to the designated administrator for posting 72 hours before. That's Jane. And let's see. So also conducting the meetings as chair, preparing and delivering a monthly report to the commission, and conferring with and supporting the vice chair and the committee members as needed. The vice chair is responsible if the chair is not available for all the above. So, oh, here, this one. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, the appointment, resignation, removal. There we go. Advocacy committee members are appointed by the chair of the commission annually at the September meeting. So here we are. So this is up to date for that. So, okay, so I am opening up the floor here. Does anybody want to be the chair? I can't see let's see, let me see it. I can't see everybody. I guess we can go back, Jane, to everybody. Okay. Okay, I don't see people unmuting and raising their hands. Nobody wants to be the chair? Really? Okay.
What about you?
Oh, me? Well, if I
Yeah,
said
you.
no, what would happen?
We'd vote you in anyway.
You'd vote me anyway, so it'd be a forced. Okay, I will take on that responsibility. I turned 70. I said when I turned 70, I would do more with the commission, like do. So I'm good. I'm good for my promise. So I will throw my hat in the ring for the chair. So I guess we vote. All those in favor, raise their hand, I guess.
Aye.
Okay, all right.
you can do a roll call for the
Okay,
vote.
we need to do a roll call. Very good. Thank you. All right. So this is for Paul Heavenridge being the chair of the Advocacy Committee. So Reese, how do you vote? She's raising her hand, so aye. Okay.
Aye.
Okay, Karen. Karen says
Aye.
yes. Aye, okay. Joel.
Aye.
Joel, I saw you go like this. I don't want to be chair. Okay. And Paul, I guess Paul Heavenridge votes. I can't vote for myself, can I? But anyway, yes, I guess I will do that. Okay. Now we'll do the
Paul.
vice chair.
Paul,
Paul,
you
yeah.
can vote for yourself. I have been told so many times to
Oh,
vote
I
for
can vote?
myself that it's
I'm too
unbelievable,
modest.
and I hate to.
I'm too bad. Yes, I'm blushing. Okay, Paul Heavenridge votes himself yes, yay, for himself. Okay, now we need a vice chair. Can't be me too.
I'm gonna nominate Joel Newberg.
Joel, what do you think?
I am honored and reluctantly accept.
Okay, all right, let's do anybody else. Okay, so I've only I think twice or once have been as vice chair had to take over the meeting. So it's probably a pretty easy job.
Just take care of yourself. Stay healthy.
Okay, all right. So okay, roll call vote. All those in favor of Joel being the vice chair for the advocacy committee. Reese,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Joel, are you going to vote for yourself?
Certainly.
All right, and Paul Heavenridge says yes. All right, so we have Paul Heavenridge will be the chair of the advocacy committee, and Joel Newberg will be the vice chair. Okay, so it looks like we have the two longest haired people as chair and vice chair here. I need to grow a beard now, so they won't tell the difference, Joel.
That's
They
it.
both have glasses and long hair. Okay. All right. So I don't think we have to keep talking for another 8 minutes. Is that, unless somebody has, what I would like to quickly talk about is agenda items for next meeting. So anybody have anything that's, we are going to take off Black Lives Matter and police and libraries, since we've talked about both of those and resolve those issues. Reese? Do you have
Why
anything
don't
else?
we come with suggestions for talking points, and then we can give them to Ray, and he can organize them with the other things that are happening in the library, and we
Great.
can look at them the following time.
Great idea. Let's definitely have that on there.
Should we try to do that a little before so that Ray has them so that we have a collected document? So
Well, that's a good idea too. Do you want to send ideas to Ray? So we could have them for the meeting? Is that okay, Ray?
It's great. And if I could offer a slight edit to the suggestion, it would be to really think of it in the context of being a commissioner. You know, one of the things I like to ask myself is, no matter what situation I'm in, is what did I wish I knew when I started?
Oh,
You
good.
know, and there are lots of things. We're such a complicated organization. There's probably lots of things you'd like to know that we didn't think to tell you, or we told you and it was along with another big pile of stuff and you forgot. So maybe that context. And if the next meeting is October 19th, Jay needs approximately a week for the agenda. So if you could get things to me by October 8th or something like that, 8th or 10th.
Okay. All right. So that's our homework. I think also, and then Ann, if you wouldn't mind looking at what Ray writes up, you may have some suggestions too. So we're speaking as one voice and we're up to date, and we're, again, the monthly reports you're writing in are invaluable. It really helps. So Reese, you had a question? You're muted. Yep.
Reese.
Reese, you're
You
muted.
have to unmute.
There you go.
This is very confusing. I thought our next meeting was the 12th. Thought we were meeting the second Monday of the month
Let's see. Let me look real quick.
of
That's
October.
okay. So the 6th, yeah, it's the next Monday after the commission meeting.
Okay.
So we could do like we're doing today if you want to meet on the 6th at 4 o'clock.
No,
I'm-
the second Monday would be the 12th, wouldn't it?
Well,
Something
the
like that.
second Monday would be the 12th. I'm sorry. I'm looking at
Yeah.
the wrong calendar.
Yeah, my mistake. I apologize.
Yeah,
It should
that's
be the
Columbus
12th.
Day.
Okay, and secondly, are these talking points about things that are directed to other commissioners, or is it talking points directed to the public from the commissioner?
Well, the way I thought it was so we keep talking in a common voice, that we're,
Yeah, but
this
are we
is for the commissioners to talk to the public.
for the commissioners to talk to the public? Okay,
Yeah, right, Ray? Isn't it?
That was my understanding also.
Yeah.
okay,
So if you're, the agenda says the next meeting is the 19th. So if you're modifying that and you're going to meet on the 12th, then we need to back up. So your new deadline to get me your suggested talking points is October 1st.
Yeah. Okay.
okay.
And I think the reason Jane put the 12th, the 19th, because that was Columbus Day, but I don't think we have any
Oh.
problems with Columbus Day. Is that, or do we? I don't know.
Yeah, that's correct. We do not recognize Columbus Day.
Right. Indigenous People Day, anyway. It should be.
Yeah, really.
So we're actually meeting on the 12th?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, that's keeping with the second Monday. So, yeah, it says the 19th on the agenda, but it should be the 12th. Yeah, second Monday. Unless it's a holiday or something, unless there's a conflict like there was this month. Okay. So that's good. Anything else on the agenda? We've got 4 minutes, so.
Just not to harp on this too much, but on the talking points, can you sum up again? I know it's from a commissioner perspective, but
Mhm.
talking about what?
The library itself, what we're doing with the library. So did everyone get, maybe Joel didn't, but Ray had put together a PowerPoint for talking points when we talk to our cities or our constituency. So I think based on that, updating it and, but what are some common questions people are asking us as we go in the community? When's the library going to happen? When can I start using your computers again? So it needs to be updated for questions like that. In fact, I'll tell you, right, that'll be one of my questions I get even from the mayor of my fair city here. When are we going to be able to get in and use the computers? Can we take them outside and use them? So that's a question that I'm asked frequently. So I'd like that to be one of my questions that I'm gonna send in. So,
I eagerly await your emails.
okay.
Commissioner
So-
Heaven Ridge, Chair
Yes.
Heaven Ridge, excuse me,
Sure.
may I ask one quick question?
Yes. Sure.
Should we broaden the scope here if we're going to ask the commissioners present to send suggested talking points? Should we ask all commissioners?
I think that's a grand idea. What's the best way of doing that to communicate?
That's a Jane, that's right in
Jane
Jane's
thing?
wheelhouse. She'll know just
Okay.
what to do.
All right, great. So Jane, if you and I need to talk about that, or you and Ray can set it up, that's great.
Yeah, I'll talk with Ray and go with start with his slideshow that he put together, and then I can
Okay.
talk to you about what may be needed.
Excellent. Good. Well, okay, we got about 30 seconds left. Any last words from anybody? Good meeting. I think we accomplished quite a bit. And thank you all for keeping to the hour format. I think this is a good way to hold a meeting. Okay. I think we didn't short anybody. And it is now, wait a minute, we got 10 seconds. I don't have my seconds on my, here, I got my Mickey Mouse watch here. Wait,
It's 4:59. Good afternoon.
Mickey says it's still 4:59, so. Anyway, so good meeting, everybody. I
Thank you
think that
all.
was it.
You can
Okay.
adjourn at any time.
Yes, I know. I was kind of making a point. Sorry. I'll see you in an hour.
Hey.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye, David.